Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Dragon Age Lore. As promised, this week we will talk about Lyrium. I touched on the subject on my magic video last week, but felt like Lyrium deserved a video on its own, especially that we know more about it, given Trespasser and Descent DLCs, and actually the actual base game of Dragon Age Inquisition. So just heads up that this video will have some spoilers from the base game and from the Descent DLC and Trespasser DLC. So now let's get into it. Lyrium is a magical substance that is found very deep underground. Because it is considered in its raw form as a very dangerous substance, dwarves are the only race capable of safely mining it with minimal side effects, as the proximity to the lyrium veins gave the dwarves their resistance against magic and against lyrium side effects. But it is merely a resistance, however, and not full immunity, since it is only a skin-deep resistance. Any inhalation, digestion, contact through the eyes or nose, or any open wound is prone to leave the person at risk of its major side effects. Those side effects depends on the amount of time the person was exposed to lyrium and the amount of lyrium. Lyrium is not exclusive to the waking world, however. Deep in the Fade and even in the raw Fade, where even spirits don't dwell, you can find some deposits of lyrium. The Chantry believes that this is the essence of creation, what the Maker used to create and shape the world. Meanwhile, dwarves believe that lyrium is merely a gift from the stone to them. According to some new discoveries, it is learned that lyrium is actually alive, and it is the blood of the Titans. They are great forgotten beings said to inhabit the deepest pits of the underground. Some new texts suggest that Mithal, the all-mother elven goddess, struck down the pillars of earth, also known as the Titans, and allowed the ancient elves to mine their corpses for more lyrium in order to gain more magical powers. Bianca Davry, the dwarven tinkerer who studied red lyrium in depth, concluded that lyrium is a living substance, not just a mineral, and that when exposed to the light it got corrupted and turned into the dreadful red lyrium, which we will talk in depth about in a moment. People who spend time around lyrium will sometimes describe the sound it emits as a song of some sort. The Chantry calls this song the Song of the Maker, and the dwarves use this hum to listen to the stone and find where the lyrium deposits are. Also, a book belonging to Parakon Garal, one of the dwarven great people, described the sound as the Titans' hymn, and the Titans used this faint sound to guide Shaper Volta deeper underground through the events of the Descent DLC. As stated in the previous video, there are multiple applications to lyrium, like enchanting weapons and using lyrium-infused stones as light sources like in Urlay. Some other known uses of the substance are when Paragon Karadin used the Anvil of the Void, which combines the two dwarven marvels, lyrium and smithing. He used the anvil to create golems to fight Darkspawn. The process of creating a golem was to make a dwarf wear a golem-like armor that covered their whole body. Then molten lyrium was poured into the armor through the eyes and mouth and joint openings, which resulted in the end in a magical animated golem. Other known application was when the smith of Amgarak used a device named as Lyrium Well to shift people between the levels of the Fade to create runic golems. Unfortunately, this didn't end well when one of the golems turned into a monstrosity and the smith had no choice but to seal the tide and forget about the horrors within. A Tevinter mage in the Imperium used lyrium to etch some drawings into the skin of one of his slaves. As a result, the slave, now known as Fenris, lost all of his memories, but gained many new magical powers, like bursts of spirit energy that aids him in combat. He can also phase through solid objects by tapping into the Fade. One of the major applications of lyrium is when Templars ingest the diluted form of lyrium to gain their magical resistance powers. Unfortunately, this was used as a political move by the Chantry to always hold the leash of the Templars, as lyrium is very addictive and only the Chantry have access to it on the surface. Templars who wish to break out of the order risk too much, as the withdrawal symptoms can range from random headaches to memory loss, unquenchable thirst, and paranoia. Mages, on the other hand, may suffer from the continuous use of Lyrium potion in what is known as mana imbalance, which symptoms include dizziness, conscious dreaming, and hearing voices. But unlike the Templars, mages can easily recover from this. Lyrium is also used to brand mages who are deemed to be dangerous to themselves and others, turning them into tranquils. Now let's move into more of a darker topic, and let's talk about red lyrium. Red lyrium is a more potent and much more addictive than regular lyrium. It was first discovered by the Deep Road expedition by the champion of Kirkwall with their friend Varric Tethras and his brother Bartrand. Not even the most seasoned mining caste dwarves had seen the stuff before. In the Taig where it was first discovered, red lyrium grew in veins just like regular lyrium. Once the breach in the Temple of Sacred Ashes were open, red lyrium escaped to the surface in the form of crystals that emit some sort of a hum along with the heat. It grows very fast and spread just like an infection. Unlike regular lyrium, the red lyrium does not need to be ingested or refined to affect people, as only mere proximity is enough to alter minds of people near it. Ingesting the red lyrium works faster than just the proximity to it, but using too much of it can outright damage the person by either turning them into a monster or by petrifying them into red lyrium statues. The Red Templars in Dragon Age Inquisition say that they always have to use the right amount to keep them powerful enough, but not much that could kill them.
Why was the demon here, working with the Red Templars?
A garden needs a gardener. Nurturing, gentle hands, directing the change. Not too fast, not too slow. Just right. Has to be just right.
So you tend to red lyrium like a horticulturist. Interesting, if repulsive. There's nothing I can do for you. I'm sorry.
Imshale. He said he could take the red out. If I said yes.
Imshale could have saved you.
He liked to watch the agony. He liked to play. We were his garden. Consent and live. Deny and be consumed. Oh, but what he wanted? No. Anything but that. I chose the red. I chose.
Probably being a Templar can help with the resistance of the effect of continuous exposure to red lyrium, like how it was with Templar Knight Meredith and the Templar Samson. Also, Seekers of Truth are completely immune to the effects of red lyrium, albeit they can still get poisoned by it if ingested.
Daniel, can you hear me?
Cassandra, it is you. You're alive.
As are you. I'm so glad I found you.
No, they put a demon inside me. It's tearing me up.
What? You can't be possessed. That's impossible.
I'm not possessed. They fed me things. I can feel it growing.
Can we do anything?
I don't know. This thing inside him.
The stages of the red lyrium infections are the exposure, where the subject feels a bit of paranoia or leaning to be more violent. Manifestation is when the subject starts looking sickly. Eyes glow with red haze, their skin starts showing red veins, flesh starts looking pale. The subject is best described as a living corpse. Red Templars, on the other hand, become more powerful. They start hearing the song, which they describe as another variation of the regular lyrium song. Then they start to force others to experience the song. It is unknown if the song is the same corrupted song the old god uses. Advanced stage is when the red lyrium crystallizes through the bodies of the subjects. More crystals form as the stage advances. The flesh twists and gets misshapen by the red lyrium around it. It grows within their bodies, taking over their lungs, their brains, turning them unrecognizable. Red Templars now have even new powers, like accelerating the infection in others, forming red lyrium barricades and shields to aid them in combat. The end stage is when the subject is completely unrecognized as once was a person. They turn into a behemoth whose mere existence is pain and agony. But where did the red lyrium come from in the first place? It is unknown exactly where it came from, but there are certain texts about the very first documentation of the subject. Thousands of years ago, even before the Darkspawn even existed, House Valdecine was responsible for supplying the whole Dwarven Empire with lyrium. But one day the tide closed its doors and no one would respond to the outside calls. Eventually the doors were open, but no one was ever to be found inside the tide, except for one red lyrium idol that was allegedly worshipped by the staff. So the Dwarven king at the time ordered the idol to be left in the tide and the tide to be sealed and stricken from the memories, lest not to be found and the danger within be spread. In 931 Dragon, Hawk, alongside with the Tethras brothers, found the idol, and Bartran Tethras stole it while leaving Hawk and Varric sealed in. Eventually, they found a way out through the tunnels and they encountered a rock wraith that used to feed on red lyrium, claiming that it was feasting upon the gods. So this was all that we actually factually know about lyrium. There are other theories out there, but I think that theories deserve videos on their own, since this series is supposed to be only facts, only things that are confirmed in the lore. So thank you very much for listening, and if you have any suggestions for the coming week's topic, just please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you and goodbye.